Hey everyone, this is Sabrina. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to do another reading journal update. This is September and I read 11 books, and it helped because 4 of them were graphic novels. I'd been putting off the graphic novels for a while, and I finally decided, you know what, I'm going to catch up on a few of the series that I really love to read. And I had a lot of favorite books this month, and probably my first below a 4-star rating book that I've had this year. So I am starting like I always do, gluing down the covers, and don't forget I have a free template for you to download so you can do your own little template of books. I go to the next step, which is adding the titles to my shelfie, and once I get done adding in all the titles for September, I only have 1 book until I am on to the next page, which is very exciting. So I started off the month with Lessons in Chemistry, which is definitely going to be a favorites spread. And then from there, I think I have my books narrowed down, but I'm not quite sure. There's just so many this month that I even put a category in the September stats page. So as you can see, I just wrote down the last one, Something is Killing the Children, Volume 2, and I only have 1 book. I forgot again to print out my favorite book for September, so I guess I will just do 3 months when it gets to October. I'm adding in 11 little squares for September, and I'm so close to 100 books. So close. I'm just having a lot of fun reading this year, and, you know, graphic novels count. I'm not sure if I've said this recently, but I think of graphic novels as book cookies. They are the best. They are the best of the best, and I absolutely enjoy reading them, and that's kind of why I put off some of these graphic novels, because I was like, I don't want the cookie. I don't want the cookie. Is that funny? I think it's funny. So I really enjoyed all my graphic novels, and I have several series that I am enjoying. Forgot to print out some Year of Smut. I think I only had 1. I'm not doing so great with the challenge. I read a bunch of romance, but none of them work for the challenge. Ugh. I did get one for the Bloom Challenge, which is the one word, and that was Heartstopper Volume 4. Now we are on to building the calendar for September, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the anxiousness in me, but I always have to flip back to the previous month to make sure that I get it correct as far as the measurements. And I do wind up goofing the horizontal boxes because I think I only counted 3, but it should have been 4. In the end, it's all going to work out. Isn't that what I always say? It all works out. So I'm drawing my boxes so I can fill in when I read the books, what days I read the books, and I had a lot going on in September, and so some of these books did take me a while to get through, but like the book that I read, Reverse, that was like a 600-page book, and it was amazing. That will also probably be a favorites book as well, but that took me several days to get through. And same thing with The Unknown Beloved, which is a fantastic historical fiction book with the twist of paranormal and romance. It's a really cool book with a premise based on a killer in the Great Depression in Chicago in the immigrant neighborhood, and it's a really interesting book. So that'll be a favorite too. So now I have 3, I think, that I've talked about so far. It's going to be hard to choose this month. So I am putting down some washi. I found this really pretty yellow and pink and brown washi, and I'm going to go ahead and use that as kind of the basis for the September, and I am just loving it. It's not quite fall, but it is fall. Especially here in California, we do not have fall. There is no such thing as fall around here. And so fall is going to be in my projects and my house decor, and that's about it. So I pull out this fun ink that I don't get to use that often called Honeyman, and it's kind of like what it says, like a honey mustard colored, and it goes really well with the washi, and I'm going to try to use it in my stats page, and it's going to go all wonky. There's a new leaf stamp set from Everyday Explorers called, I think it All Feels Fall or something like that. I'll link it, don't worry. But I am using the heck out of that thing, and I am going to decorate my September with a bunch of different leaves in a really fun color scheme with the pink and the honey mustard and also the orange. I don't have any brown ink. I think I need to fix that. I was looking and I was like, wait a second, I don't have any orange. I also found in my stash some leaves that I had die cut from a Feed Your Craft project last year, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and use those up. And I also did a fun little trick with a smaller leaf, and I'm going to do that in just a second. But it says all the colors, and I stamped it in pink and then just kind of erased what I didn't need with my finger. And so I wound up with a cute little tiny pink leaf as a accent, and I really love how that turned out. It's a really fun little trick, and I will cluster in some leaves by September and also just a few up by the top of the calendar. I'm going to go ahead and glue those leaves down, and I did remember to stamp the number of books, 11, and also a little sentiment next to it that says this was a good read. The calendar has my reading list up there, and I kind of didn't remember that I actually read or finished a book on the 1st, so I probably should have scooted my cluster over. So once I go to write the book titles, I'm just going to stack it right on top. So the 1st of the month, I finally finished Lessons in Chemistry. Took me a while to get through, but I got through it, and I absolutely really enjoyed it. There was several paragraphs that I took pictures of to remember because they were just so poignant. The next book was Reverse, like I talked about, and then it was The Unknown Beloved, and then after that I read Heartstopper, which is volume 4, and that one really took, I don't want to say dark, but it took deep, that's the word I'm looking for, deeper side of the mental health for one of the characters, and it was really good. I just love that series. It's a great series. I also read This Time Tomorrow. It had a great premise with time travel and a father-daughter relationship, but I just did not like it, and I was glad when it was over. It moved really slow, and yeah, I just didn't care for it. I finished the month with 2 graphic novels. All right, moving on to the stats page. I took a neutral washi and I cut a portion of it off because I didn't want it that thick. And then I have the same washi that I used on the monthly page. And then I'll stamp all the stats. And I took 2 tiny pieces of both washis to put down in the bottom right corner because I knew that my book covers were going to take up the entire space. So I'm stamping all the stats like I do, and the T wasn't stamping, so I was able to stamp it a second time, and it worked out. Sometimes, when you stamp a second time, who knows if it'll work or if it'll smudge, but I lined it up properly, and it all worked out. And this is where things get a little hairy. Yeah, we'll just say hairy. I thought, you know what, hey, let's do the honey mustard color. It's really bright and bold, and let's just go for it. And so I decided to do that, and I am not going to like it. I'm actually going to walk away from it and decide that it hurts my eyes too much, and I need to fix it. But for right now, I'm stamping the pages, which came out to 4,706. A huge amount of pages, and so that was really cool. And I also had an awesome wide range of genres that I read, and like I said, it was a great reading month. So some of the genres were feminism, romance, music, Africa, paranormal, historical, mental health, and graphic novel. So Africa is the When Stars Are Scattered, and it's based on the author's real life experience in the Somalian internment camps. I believe that's the correct word. Refugee camps. No, it's the refugee camps. And it was absolutely fascinating. I think children and adults should read it. It's absolutely incredible. He spent 17 years in a refugee camp, and yeah, that'll probably be another favorite book too. Now I'm up to 4. Okay, so I walked away from this, and I did not like the honey mustard. Like I said, it was making my eyes hurt, and so I had a scrap piece of paper and decided to go with the pink. I felt like honey mustard would work better as like an accent with the leaves. I couldn't. I could not live with the honey mustard anymore. It was too bright. So what I did is I used that scrap piece of paper, and then you can see that there is a little bit of dot paper left, and I cut out those tiny pieces of dot paper that you could see on the pink stamping, and that way it lined up a lot better. And I'm just going to continue to do this same process, and that way I can kind of fix the blinding honey mustard color. Just wasn't working, and it was very overpowering, and yeah, I didn't couldn't do it, you guys. I just couldn't. So I was able to come up with a quick fix, and it was easy. And then I just glue on the pieces. And I've mentioned that I haven't read any Kindle books in a long time. So if this month I didn't have a Kindle, I was going to take it out. But I had a Kindle book this month. I had Reverse. Reverse was Kindle Unlimited. So I read that and I kept the category. I also decided on graphic novels and favorites. So, oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have so many September books to do favorite pages on. And if you've seen this notebook like on Instagram, you know it is darn near bulging. I think it'll hold up. It's an Archer and Olive. It's got to hold up, right? So I have enough pages to make it till the end of the year, but I just have to be careful with how many favorites I do. Okay, so now I'm going to decorate the pages the same way that I decorated the monthly pages. It just is a no-brainer to me to continue the same formula and make little clusters of leaves. I decided to take that orange leaf and kind of stamp it off the page on the left-hand side, and I am doing the same trick with the pink stamp as well, and I'll do that later on. I'm going to lay out my books 4, 4, and then 3, and I also get out the book rating stamp so that way I know where I need to place things. And I had to cut one of the pieces of washi so that way I could fit the book rating for the last book that I read. And also I wanted to just mention, random fact, Lessons in Chemistry is a different cover than the one I read. I don't know what edition it is, but I absolutely love the cover, and it went so perfectly with the overall theme of Lessons in Chemistry that I was like, you know what? I can go with that cover. Even if it's not the cover I read, I'm going with that one, and it's perfect. And I can't wait to tell you guys more about that book because it's fascinating. So I got all the books adhered down, and now I can do the book rating and then color in my ratings, and you're going to see that I have a whole lot of 5-star reads. Let's see, Lessons in Chemistry Reverse, the whole top row is 5 stars. Then the Bodyguard, I gave it 5 stars, but it was more like 4.5 to 4.75. This Time Tomorrow didn't work for me. I just didn't. And Yes, and I Love You was a 4-star. And then I read The Deal, which was a smut challenge book, and I absolutely loved it. And then the graphic novels, there was 3 of them towards the end of the month, and those were fantastic. So I had 10 paper books and 1 Kindle, 4 graphic novels, and 7 books I would consider favorites, awesome, great books. So that's why it's going to be hard to narrow it down. I'm going to finish this up with writing out the dates of when I read the books, and I'm going to decide that I want to stamp just a smidge of brown, and the only ink I could find was sepia, so that's just going to have to work, and I'll just stamp a little bit of stars and the small pink leaf. And then my entire September journal will be done, and I just have the best time putting together these pages. It's just so much fun. So I got my pink leaf stamped, and then that's when I'm going to go digging around and trying to find a really small star. And I found that star in a Christmas stamp set. Like, I don't know. I just found it and I was like, that works. That's the size I want. So I stamp it, and that will be just about it. And I would love to know what awesome books you guys have read lately. Leave a comment and let me know. I love a thumbs up or a subscribe if you are new to my channel. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye.